We're hot mics, but don't
freak out.
Yeah.
So the watch this and live. So we're live here. And
We're hot mics, but don't
freak out. When this calms down, you should be able to. One of these should say share. What are you doing that for?
Because I wanted to see if the what do you call that doohickey thing?
So you could share. Now you could send that like as a text message to somebody,
okay.
or you could share it to your whatever social media.
All right. So what do I do? Oh, okay, never mind.
If you're sharing, you could just text whoever. So you could share. Now you could send that like as a text.
So now I can turn this on.
Or you could share it to your. If you want, or you could just have it up.
Yeah.
I'll just turn it down.
Right.
Yeah, you just turn it down.
Oh.
So we're actually live now, so you can talk.
Oh, I can.
Are you gonna go with headphones or no?
Oh, I didn't know.
They're right here.
You guys didn't tell me.
Well, I mean, it's not your first rodeo.
I was sitting on the couch the last time I was a guest.
after your confessions of living downtown and partying, it's not your first rodeo.
Oh man, I'm just putting it out.
Am I supposed to? Should I share that too on my?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Why not?
Oh, jeez.
Well, welcome back. You're back on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I grabbed the wrong shirt today, man.
Did you? You went with the pink.
It's the medium shirt, and it doesn't have
That's
the
a
tag
medium?
Yeah, man.
I'm surprised you could get in it. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, man. It's so tight.
Yeah.
But who cares? I'm not going anywhere tonight.
Just like a fresh coochie.
Yeah. We're off to the races. We have friend of the show, Jackie, here today. And as always, we got a lot of good stuff to talk about here, if I can find it here. And here we go. All right, so we're going to be talking about Bill Belichick. He has a new job. Okay, we're going to be talking about the NBA and the trade rumors that are flying around. You got Caitlin Clark winning awards in the offseason. Jamie Foxx is back. All of that good stuff, man. Got some more college football stuff to talk about, too. All of that good stuff. Yeah, something you just want to say?
I mean, I remember a couple months back, we thought Jamie Foxx was, like, never coming back.
Yeah.
Like, he looked really bad at one point.
Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about it here on the show.
And he's one of the most talented people in entertainment.
Yeah. He definitely is, man. You know, and I watched this I watched the special. Jackie, did you get to see it?
I did not.
Are you a Jamie Foxx fan?
I am.
Yeah. Who isn't, right? Jamie is like Pink said, man, very talented. Got a multi-talented guy who can do multiple things.
I'm impressed with his piano playing.
Yeah, he did some of that at the end. Definitely had some singing in there. He brought his daughter on stage. All of that good stuff.
Is she handicapped?
Not the one that he has multiple daughters.
Okay.
So the one that was on stage, I didn't see any handicap.
No, because I remember he was telling a story like it was about Chris Brown, and it was like Chris Brown was at his house and like literally like just kind of played with and sang and danced with his handicapped daughter, and he was.
I thought he only had one.
No, he has multiple daughters.
I didn't know.
As far as I know.
I just remember, yeah, but he was just telling the story, and it was kind of in the context of like, hey, you know, like people can say whatever about Chris Brown, but the way he treated my daughter, like he's always good with me.
Well, she didn't look that on. She had her instrument, and so she was sitting down and had her instrument. So who knows? She could have been. I didn't, whatever. And then
Stevie Wonder was a little handicapped.
Right. So if all you do is show him playing an instrument, and all of a sudden, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah.
And
more power to her.
And apparently, while he was down, his sister and his daughter was helping him with all of his affairs and business and stuff like that, and they really
Sure there were.
really held him down.
One for me, one for Jamie.
But I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm not the biggest Jamie Foxx stand-up comedy fan. I just don't think he's that good. But this was a good special. You know, he talked to, he had a lot of, some good jokes and about, him being out and him being down and things like that, and different dynamics of being in the hospital and the nurses and things like that. So that was funny.
Did he say why? What happened?
So
Did they discuss that?
he says they still really don't know the exact thing of what happened. It was ultimately it was, his brain was bleeding, if you will, but what caused it and what happened, he has no idea. He was just in a car with his friend, and all of a sudden he felt like something was wrong, and he asked for some aspirin, and the next second he's out for a couple of months.
Damn.
The next time he wakes up.
He has like no recollection for a
He
period of months.
He says like 25 days or something like that. He doesn't remember at all.
Wow.
Like has no, like he woke up and thought it was
whatever that last day
you know what I
was.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just has no
Damn.
recollection of that.
That's crazy.
I don't, you're not gonna tell it all, but he was the one joke about how the lady came in to give him a bath. Like, Jamie, it's time for your bath and this and that. He's like, well, let me go in, just drop me off, and I'll do my thing. And she's like, no, I have to bathe you. And he's like, oh, well, I don't want you to see my stuff. You know what I mean? And she's like, well, Jamie, I've been bathing you for like 24 days, for like 3 weeks now.
A little bit past. I'm quite familiar with your stuff.
So but it was dope, man. I encourage everybody to check it out. Now, I was telling Pink before the show, it's super religious.
Yeah.
It's like to the extreme level. So like every 5 seconds, he's definitely bringing that up. And
It's probably enough to keep me away.
It's Atlanta. A lot of black folks. They work for that crowd for sure. I'll leave it at that.
Any trannies in the show?
Not that got on stage.
Okay.
I don't know. Not that got on stage. What's funny? I lived in Atlanta. I didn't see all of that. So.
Yeah, but I say it because I remember when you were going up there, you said your uncle was like, "Hey, look, ask for baby pictures."
Right.
And so I was like, "Man, what's going on up there?"
That's definitely the thing that people say, but I don't know. It's a community there, but
yeah,
So
what was that on Netflix or something?
It's on Netflix. It's on
Netflix.
Netflix.
I'm trying to watch that.
Yeah. Oh man.
What else? You got? You can't just have a private laugh on the show. Like we gotta
Probably
let us in.
Recollecting hanging out in Atlanta.
No, it's
Something
not.
that happened. Tell us a story.
It's not hanging out in Atlanta. It's not really a story. It's just like, it's not even from Atlanta, but it's like, it's a question. Have you ever dealt with? It's no way to put it. Have you ever dealt with a woman for a while and didn't know you wasn't 100% sure she was a woman?
No.
Is that weird?
That's a no.
It
for
is
me too.
weird. Yeah, I think that's pretty weird. I would just suspect there's got to be a tell.
They are pretty good nowadays. You can't really tell.
The closest thing I remember, I went into a gas station to buy something, and the person, like the counter worker, appeared to be kind of an ugly female. But then when I handed my change back, it was like a man hand, and it jarred me. I was like, "Whoa, wait, what happened?" That was like my experience in that area.
I was talking about like dating. And,
No, I know. Yeah.
Oh, but that's just the closest you've been.
You had a situation?
I did.
Did ya?
I did.
How long we talking? A couple months?
Pray tell.
A pretty long while. Now, listen. Like I'm at the time. I'm pretty sure it's this is a woman. Like I'm not. It's not like I'm on the fence or anything. But it's just like, okay, you get it to where when it's time to get intimate, only it's only like one thing, which is like oral sex, right?
Yeah.
And then and nothing else, and then you get to wonder, you got.
Did you not feel like usually there's like petting involved?
I mean,
Potentially
the
heavy
chest look and feel real, but what do I know? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm talking about
At the
other
time, I
parts.
hadn't had any real. I never could get down there. I never could get down
She's
there.
Heisman Trophy every time. Was that what it was about?
Yeah, man.
So what? It was a trans person?
No, man, no.
What's going
Why
on?
would I tell the story about me being with a trans person?
I don't know.
That would go to the grave with me.
What made you?
It ended up being a woman for sure, but it was like first of all, it's a long time ago. Very long time
As
ago.
if that makes it better.
But why did you think that she could potentially?
Yeah.
Well, because of the only oral sex threw me off for a while, right? Threw me off because I had never.
Most guys would be like, "This is great."
Nah.
The first couple of times, but then like every time, it's like, okay, what's going on here? And then you have like, and then my mind goes to wonder, like, oh man, her hands are like bigger than my hands, and then
Now,
Was
did
there
she
any
like?
tossed salad involved?
no.
No. Okay.
Did she have like an excuse why you weren't going down south?
Yeah.
What was the excuse?
Just not ready yet.
Not ready yet.
Yeah, not ready.
How long do you get
You have to
on
respect
that?
Huh?
Not for long.
I mean, with the oral sex there, it's kind of like,
I'll ride this out for a bit.
yeah,
Okay.
why not?
Because it wasn't that bad, right? It wasn't bad at all. It was all right.
It was okay. Yeah,
It was only okay.
it's only okay because it was a one trick pony, and it's not really my trick. Really sloppy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
okay
yeah.
every once in a while, but
Yeah.
if this is all you do, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's enough.
Invest in some towels.
Yeah. All right. That's a little early in the show for that
What
type
about,
of talk.
What about
Well, go
like
ahead.
handicapped people? Have you ever?
No, that's a good one. I have not. That's a good one. That would freak Pink out. I'll tell you that right now.
You have something you want to share?
I plead the fifth.
That'll freak you out, right, Pink?
Oh yeah, I ain't messing with him. No missing appendages, nothing like that.
I'm not saying I wouldn't.
If she's pleading the fifth, that's a confession.
No,
of
it's
guilt.
not.
It is.
Absolutely
It is.
not.
It is
not.
100%. What was the disability? Mental or physical?
No, I was just asking a question.
Oh well, mentally, I'm sure I've come across. I'm sure.
Right.
Came across an idiot or two.
I'm sure of it, man.
Yeah, you,
Short butts.
you may have had nothing
short
but
butts
idiots
handed
lined up.
NBI.
Wow. You should share.
I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, but no, I just haven't come across it. Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't now.
Really?
At this
I've
age, I'm
seen
not sure. But
some really handsome guys that
no, there's some
they're
beautiful
just-
women. There's some beautiful people out there, man. That have a handicap.
Like 9.5 fingers is not bad.
No, I can't do that. Can't do that. I'm missing appendages are.
There's a blind guy that comes into my gym. I was at my gym earlier. He's there. He's working out. Sure, he looks good to the ladies.
All right. They can have them. Let's go.
Yeah,
No. That's a deal breaker for me.
Deal breaker.
I mean, I
Yeah.
feel just that they need to explain what if they look normal for the most part.
You have
then
to
just
disclose.
missing-
Disclose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should disclose whatever.
By the way, I'm
issue
missing
is.
half of my left foot. Can we proceed?
I think we need to have that
You do?
discussion.
So you would feel really, really upset if you kind of get along the way and this guy's like missing a hand or
Yeah,
maybe a
absolutely.
Okay.
I think,
Since we're here,
what is the move? What is the move when you've been deceived? I mean, maybe you're already down there slobbing a knob. I mean, like, do you just abruptly stop and chastise the person?
Yeah. Like I think you would just. I mean, for me, I would just be like, okay, I'm out.
Oh, okay, you're not gonna
No,
you're not
we're
gonna
not-
give them a
no.
speech about their deceptiveness.
No, I can't.
You're not
I
out.
can't
You,
get
you do the
past that.
bathroom thing. Hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. And
Yeah,
then,
hey, I gotta go. I gotta get up early in the morning.
Oh, the early in the morning.
I forgot to just change my schedule at 3 a.m.
My boss just
Gotta
called.
I just got an email.
What if what if a guy is on either end of the spectrum, like size wise? Should he disclose that on either end?
No, you don't have to disclose.
You don't have to
that.
disclose
Really?
that. Okay.
You'll
Okay.
just deal with whatever comes.
I didn't say I would deal with it, but I mean, because most guys lie about,
Okay, so it's like you probably wouldn't believe it anyway.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
No, but when you're saying on either end of the
I mean,
you're-
extreme
it's
on
extreme one way or the other.
one
It's-
way or
we're
the
not-
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not lying in the middle ground here.
I went out with this guy one time, and he was like, he said it. He said, I'm just not, I'm not really big or whatever. And he's like a big guy, and it turned out that he was telling the truth.
Was he Shaquille O'Neal?
No. No.
No,
Have you heard that about Shaq?
the Korean, the Korean Stephens girl. She put it in her book.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, she put it in her book.
I didn't read
about
her
Shaq.
book, man.
It was,
Bubba read that book with a jar of Vaseline.
looking for
Best book
pictures.
ever.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Pardon me.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, so
So he actually did give you notice,
he did, but
but you were
know,
so
just-
skeptical.
Right, because I'm like, the package overall is like, come on, you're just like
Yeah,
trying to pull my leg, and it was just like, what the
He
hell?
wasn't pulling much of anything.
Right. That was yeah. Gotta get up
Okay.
early that morning.
Had to get up early that morning.
Like, see ya.
Abort.
Yeah, man.
That's funny.
Got to work the early first shift.
Right.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Let's move it along here. Caitlin Clark, she won this the Time Athlete of the Year award, right? And then afterwards,
Time
she
athlete
came out
of
and
the
made some.
year?
Yeah. Now, what I wanted to do was, I wanted to find out like who else was in the running, right? Who was second place, third place, fourth place, or
Right.
whatever. Couldn't find that on any article. I clicked on 1,000.
Well,
of
it's
them.
probably not like a voted on thing. It's probably just an internal award.
So what I do have is the former winners, like
Okay.
whatever. So just the last few, you have LeBron James, Simone Biles in her big year, Aaron Judge won one, and Messi. Okay, those are the last few. Those are like those are
That's
like
phenomenal.
all-time great
Yeah.
people.
Didn't Caitlyn Jenner win though?
Maybe before these people,
When she was Bruce
maybe.
Jenner?
No.
Oh.
After the transformation
or it could be like a different
category
Or-
or different publication.
different
Could be.
publication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I remember Caitlyn Jenner getting an award, and like people were kind of miffed
Yeah.
about it because like she's not even like a competing athlete. Like, what's going on?
I
Like,
remember that. But yeah, it's not. I don't think it was this publication.
Okay.
Now my first thing about it before she came up with her comments when she first won it, my first comment was, how can she win this award? This is nuts. Like it's not that, of course she's a good women's basketball player, but she's not even the best women's basketball player.
Right.
Didn't make the playoffs and wasn't even on the U.S. Olympic team women's. Whether you agree with it or not, like those are things that those are just facts. Okay. And then like of the year, that means if you're adding like if a guy like LeBron James won it, Messi won it, like where is Mahomes? Where is whatever like these other sports? Whatever, even Wemby for that matter. But whatever. Who won the NBA championship? I guess you wouldn't put Tatum there, but but whatever.
Just not Jason Tatum.
Anybody but Jason. But you get what I'm saying. That's my first initial thought. Before we get to her comments.
Yeah.
Is that what you? You get what they're doing.
I get what they're doing. There is a pushing of this women's basketball thing that's it's just is what it is.
And they won't let it go.
There's people hell bent on pushing this. to the masses, and she's been the forefront of it. Now, I mean, in truth, you could look at maybe Mahomes like pulling off the double, back-to-back Super Bowls and what have you. Other than that, like NBA-wise, Jason Tatum doesn't really inspire that sort of
What about your soccer guy? Did he have a big
Mbappe? No, like in the last 12 months, like he hasn't.
Okay.
They lost Champions League. They didn't win the Euro. So
I mean, what has she won? I mean,
no. I mean, I get it, but I mean, I guess in the traditional metrics to achieve this award, you're talking about like that standout performance, winning whatever the highest level is in your sport. And so, like, in a way, and the argument I'm kind of making, potentially other than Mahomes, nobody's done that. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody's had that type of year.
There wasn't a standout.
Maybe Ohtani.
Okay.
In baseball.
Yeah.
Maybe is in that. Because, again, Jason Tatum and the Celtics win the NBA. Nobody had an, unbelievable individual season.
Right.
Soccer-wise, nobody did that. Like, maybe Mahomes, maybe Ohtani, but it just really wasn't that. Even in the Olympics, we didn't have, like, a Michael Phelps or Usain Bolt level performance out of the games that just was hands down.
Sha'Carri Richards.
She fucking got 8 up in the 100 meters.
Oh, she did make the playoffs. I'll correct that, Chris. You're correct.
No, but I mean, Sha'Carri is annoying to me.
Okay, so
because people keep pushing. People keep pushing her.
Well, that's how I feel about Caitlin Clark.
We can agree. Yeah.
I just don't understand, why would she, of all the players, Asia Richards?
Yeah. Asia Wilson is the best player in women's basketball.
I mean, why wouldn't she get it if that's what they're looking for?
To your point, now she came out after all of this. She was announced the winner and all of that. She was basically saying, hey, I thank you for the award, but the WNBA was built by black women, and she just went on and on about she understands her place as a white athlete in a black dominated league, and the best players are black, and I thought that was interesting because this is her first time really addressing that.
Right.
That I'm aware of. Yeah.
When there's been constantly that type of narrative.
Right.
What do you think about the comments and the timing of it? Because
I'll credit the timing, and looking at this favorably, I'll credit the timing with kind of a level of maturation in recognizing kind of where she stands in this, and kind of how she might feel about this. And if you look at the context of the women's basketball, it was weird because literally you go through your March Madness run, then you're drafted a week or two later, and then you're right in the There was no off season for anybody to process anything, and particularly her. And I mean, again, there was a media swarm around her. I get all that. I mean, but I'll say, maybe getting to the off season, kind of getting a little perspective on, your performance, the context of the league, and kind of everything that's going on around you. I'll give her credit and say maybe this is kind of the result of kind of having a little perspective and maturing a bit to understand where she stands in all this.
I agree with that. I think I didn't read her comments, but if she did address that, I think that was about time, because I personally am not a big fan, but I feel like a lot of other people that, she came in, yes, she did all this other stuff, but there were so many other players before that got absolutely no recognition for even keeping that league alive, which, I mean, it really is
no
some
small
of the worst
accomplishment.
basketball. I'm not a big, big fan of it.
And it's not her fault. It's not her fault that millions of people like her,
right,
and like to see her play for I don't know, a reason I can't really understand, but it's not for me to understand. They like to see her play, then they see her play, But and for first of all, it's more of a. I'm not the biggest fan of women's basketball, period. But there are a couple of players and teams I do like to watch. Asia Wilson being one, and then Juju, in college now. But,
I
that's not
really
saying a lot.
like Ellie the elephant. Like, she is so entertaining.
Who is
See, I don't
that?
even know who that is.
The
yeah.
Liberty, whatever.
Okay.
Their mascot. Like,
Oh,
she's
the mascot?
fabulous. Yes.
Pink, what are we doing here?
I'm not a part of this.
She's fabulous. She is
I'm not
I
co-signing.
thought you were talking about a player. I was like, oh man, feel bad not knowing this player.
You were set up. You bought it.
Yeah, I bought it. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Let's move to the NBA here before we get to this football stuff. It's quite a bit of football here. But you have some trade rumors here for the second year in a row, maybe third or fourth. Golden State Warriors are contacting the Lakers about LeBron.
Wow.
To get LeBron over there. And then also Jimmy Butler.
LeBron and Bronny? Or just...
That's the thing, right?
I've heard that any trade would involve Bronny too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you can't leave him behind. He's useless.
Yeah, I heard the last game. I didn't see the last game, but I heard the last game was so bad.
They've been getting their behinds kicked. The Lakers, yeah.
Yeah.
They've been getting their rear ends handed to them. They're a good offensive team. Defensively, they're towards the bottom of the league. So, but they're not. The Lakers are not looking to move LeBron. These things here are mostly about the Golden State Warriors trying to improve their team, and they're looking at Jimmy Butler, LeBron, and a couple of other guys. And again, I just think they're another organization, similar to the ones I like, 76ers. You're looking at these old guys. It's just not the answer.
Yeah.
That's ultimately that's my take on it. That's just not the answer. Yeah, LeBron
Yeah.
is one of the best players all time. Whether you want to say he's the best or second, third, fourth, fifth, he's just old now. How is LeBron? What you have to give up to even get him? It's just not even nothing. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not worth the headache. And then you have to bring Bronny along. He's just now accepted to go on the road on his G League team like a month after all of the talk.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll have armed security with him at every game. Who knows? And it's just too much, man. And then Jimmy Butler, man, he's an interesting guy because he's a little up there.
Yeah.
But he'll still have a performance here and there.
Well,
but just not a guy I would want to invest in at this point.
Right, but the issue is he for every good performance he has, he's sitting out a night with some sort of ache or pain or ailment, and he's just not a reliable star at this point.
Yeah.
Worse off than LeBron by a good margin as far as even reliability.
That's what I was saying.
Night to night. So I got to admit I'm a little intrigued by a LeBron move. If I'm the Warriors and the opportunity presents, I would roll the dice and go for it. Because you're operating on Steph's timeline. And until you get rid of Steph, you're just operating on can we do anything to compete while we still have Steph.
I agree if you can just pick LeBron up off the street. But if you have to give anything of significance for him, it's just not worth it.
But here's, the construction of the current Golden State team, and they're doing okay. They're not doing great.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically Steph, Draymond, and everything else is for sale for the right buyer. There's no other foundational piece in that organization. There's nothing else you need to hold on to.
So you're thinking LeBron's going to come and or they're going to just start building a team around LeBron, and
it's not so
the
much
other
building a team around LeBron. Like the idea, Steph is and Draymond are like the kitchen sink. You're going to throw in anything but the kitchen sink. And so they could literally make any sort of permutation of deal if it could get them LeBron from the rest of the roster and then figure the rest out later. To me,
so
if
do
you could
think
do
other
it, makes
people
sense.
would want to come and play with LeBron?
It's
and
just this year. You're
just,
cobbling. You got those three guys, and then whatever's left on the roster, and you'll certainly get a couple of,
buyout
guys or
Yeah,
whatever that'll just go along for the ride.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I buy that.
And again, all it is a play to do something this year, maybe next. That's it.
And then that's it.
And then you're back to square one. But that's what they're attached to Steph right now. They're gonna ride or die with him, and you might as well just do what you can. Put it all in and see if you can do something.
Yeah, I disagree, but it's not the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah,
it's not the craziest thing.
No, that's all I'm saying. I can see that from their view of doing it.
And with Andrew Wiggins there on the roster, you can make anything work because he makes so much money, and he's relatively young. He's just not an attractive name.
Yeah.
But whatever, right around 30, and makes a lot of money, so you can put him in any deal to make anything work.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Now Jimmy Butler and his agent are going on Jimmy Butler's agent is going on a rampage on Twitter against Shams, because a lot of these reports he's saying are fake and Shams, you're just putting out stuff and saying you talk to me and this and that. Yeah, I feel like that happens from time to time, right? Because when trade rumors go out, like, oh yeah, Jimmy Butler is because what happened is it says Jimmy Butler is okay with going to Golden State, Phoenix Suns, Dallas, and there was one other team, right?
Utah?
That's the report. Nah.
Utah.
I'm sure it wasn't Utah. Nobody wants to go to Utah. And then of course, Shams saying, yeah, per his agent. And his agent like, man, I never said anything like this. Where are you getting this from?
Yeah.
I feel like, that's, I feel like a lot of that happens more times than not.
I would imagine so. I think it's like a fine balance, though, because if you're a guy like Shams, you can't burn people consistently, or your information's going to dry up for you.
Yeah.
And you'll basically lose the position you have. I mean, he's kind of the new Woj, and it's like you have to, in my mind, you got to conduct yourself with a certain code to be able to stay in that spot without undermining yourself and losing credibility. And part of that is, I think, how you manage conversations with people and how you report stuff. You're plugged in. You got a lot of information. You're connected to a lot of people. But if you burn people over and over again, that is it. Like you're not gonna. Nobody's gonna give you anything.
Yeah, nobody's gonna give in.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Now another big thing in the news, man, is Coach Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
This is nuts. So Bill Belichick becomes the new head coach of University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Okay. And it was rumors like a week or two ago that he may be interviewing and this and that, and you're thinking like, okay, what's the play here, Bill? Are you just trying to alert NFL teams that you're really serious about coming back and coaching? What is going on? And then today, news finalized. Bill Belichick, new head coach at North Carolina. And it's like, whoa, like how did that happen? Now there are some things that are coming out, but do you know at all, like why? Because
my understanding, I heard about a couple days ago that he was talking to them, and the idea was he was going to be the head coach. He was going to bring his son and basically have that set up as the son's a head coach in waiting. So when Bill steps down, they pass the baton to his son, and I think he's probably bored and probably wants to do something, and why not coach some football and do something for your son, do something with your son. And I think that's probably the motivation. And he probably, the reality was he probably didn't see, because he was available all last offseason for NFL teams and nobody bid. And I think he's been at the house watching football season. He's probably bored and driving himself crazy.
Yeah.
I like the
so
funny.
So why didn't we get him for UCF?
Fair point.
Somebody says, "Who is the idiot in the pink?" What did I say?
I don't know, man.
I haven't said anything today.
Care to elaborate, sir?
I've been chilling today, man. They've been killing me about my Deion Sanders takes. Now I don't know. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, no, I just feel like UCF could have done that. Definitely. I wonder what the attraction is to North Carolina specifically, though. Does he know somebody? Does he have a connection with somebody there or not?
Yeah. There's a few things. So his dad, coached there.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, way back. So, yeah. So that's the connection there. Now, also, another thing that is going on. So, basically, they're calling it like a Bill Belichick Bible, if you will. But basically, it's like an entire list of things that he needed in order to become the head coach. It was non-negotiable.
Okay.
And apparently he had the same, a similar setup for NFL teams like the Atlanta Falcons and things like that.
Okay, and maybe that's why some of those deals fell apart.
100%.
Okay.
100%. Now,
so what's here in the Bible? All
right, I got you. So some of the things that are in the Bible is, and I'm on this thing now. Okay, contains structure, payment plans, staffing choices, salary minimums, like position by position as far as on the football team, that will require historic levels of investment from the school. Okay. To appease Belichick, the school would also have to commit to hiring a coaching staff run by Belichick and a recruitment staff run by a sitting college GM who would need to be brought on out of his current contract. Okay. And then also the thing about his son is his son would be the coach in waiting.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, automatically. So he signed a 3-year deal, 10 mil a year, and then his son would automatically become the coach after.
Yeah.
After.
And that's, I mean, if you go back to Bobby Bowden and Jimbo, that was the arrangement. When Jimbo was brought in as offensive coordinator, it was offensive coordinator and head coach in waiting. So it was clear to everybody when Bobby left that Jimbo's your guy.
Yeah.
And so a couple of other places have done it, but I know that specifically from FSU.
Now, what some people are crying about is the nepotism piece of it.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Some
how do
people...
you feel about that? Because
Me personally,
yeah.
I don't care. I mean, like, I don't, I mean, the son coach with the Patriots, he was at Washington this year, Washington, the college, not the Commanders. He's a football guy. I mean, we'll see if he's any good as a head coach.
Why can't he just get a job on his own? Why does his daddy have to set up something for him?
Because that's just how it happens.
That's what leverage is.
I think, and that's the piece that we're missing, because a lot of people are talking about it, and listen, it sucks, and black coaches they're never going to get their just due, but that's just the way the system is set up. There's no other way around it. Old white guys, they have white sons. And that's just how it is until they start sleeping. But not them.
Not always, my friend.
Not the elites.
Right. Present company excluded.
But not the NFL football elites. Unfortunately, they don't sleep with a lot of black women. So they're having white sons, and in the circle and the cycle it just repeats itself. And at the end of the day, when you step back and you look at it, you just can't blame a guy for wanting the best for his son. I coached, and he's been up under me since he's been a baby, so he knows football. I made sure he knows football, and he wants to coach. So yeah, of course, I want him to be afforded with all of the best opportunities possible. And that's what any guy is going to want for his son.
Well, that's what LeBron did for his son.
That's what LeBron did.
Absolutely.
When
I'm
people,
like, I was that.
I mean, there's a reality when you have leverage. But here's at the end of the day, here's the thing. If you have leverage, you can try to make these things work. But at some point, the kid has to stand on his own.
Right.
And Bronny's going to have to succeed as an NBA player. It looks like he probably won't.
Yeah.
And that there's going to be a reality to that. Belichick's kid, in 4 years when he takes over he's going to have to stand on his own.
Yeah, it's not a lifetime contract.
They're going to be successful or not.
If he sucks, they're going to fire him.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
The game will sort it out.
Yeah.
Like that's just the reality, because there's too much money, there's too much desire and need to win and succeed, that if you can't do that, it'll expose itself.
And unfortunately, the guys, the black guys that have had leverage in sports, their sons have just either haven't been good enough or haven't had any interest. I'm sure if Magic Johnson's son, if he was. I'm just saying. I mean, but that's a guy who had leverage.
His name? Paul Silas's son is an NBA coach.
Yeah, Paul Silas.
It's not. I mean,
it's it's not to the degree or to the
yeah. I mean, it's not completely exclusive, but I mean, he's a guy that was around the pro game, but he's not was never an NBA guy in his own right, but got into NBA level coaching. He's had some head coaching jobs in the league. It just doesn't bother me that much, because I think two things. It's like, if any one of us had the leverage, we would utilize it to our advantage. But at the end of the day, the game will sort it out. Like, the guy's at some point, he's gonna have to stand on his own and either succeed in the job or fail.
Yeah, I agree with that. Eventually, but I think my issue is just like, and I probably was like one of the few people that I knew that had an issue with LeBron and Bronny. Like, I was like, he doesn't deserve that spot. But I get it, because if that was my husband and he had the ability to do that, I would be like, you better do it. So, but
women always fucking shit up.
Yeah.
He better do it.
Yeah, that's probably how it would go.
Yeah. Now we know it. It's probably the woman in the background every time.
Sabrina. What's her name?
What's her damn name?
Yeah,
LeBron's wife.
LeBron's wife. That's her name.
That's her. She's over there causing trouble.
She was like, "You better get Bronny over now."
That's too funny.
No, yeah, that's good stuff for sure. But yeah,
I'm more curious of the fallout of like LeBron, and that going in to get Bronny there and it not working out. What's the fallout of that?
Yeah,
there will be some. There will be some.
I don't think so.
100% there will be some. I'm not talking publicly. I'm talking internally.
Oh.
There's like he will have guilt, on some level that like he pushed this, he made it happen, and this is under the scenario which I think is most likely is that Bronny never becomes an NBA player of any significance. He'll have guilt over that. He pushed him into the forefront, and it's really kind of crumbled around him. And Bronny himself is going to have to deal with some stuff, like on the back end of this, if it ends in 2 years or 4 years, of like, hey, I kind of did all this stuff, but like I was always kind of resented for doing it, and this, that, and the other. I mean, there's going to be some mental and emotional baggage internally for both of those guys.
Yeah. Savannah. Chris says
Savannah.
That's her name.
That says Savannah. I know it starts with an S.
Yeah. Now with this build thing, what will be determined successful for him in North Carolina? North Carolina, we know, is a basketball school.
You're ostensibly giving yourself a 3-year window to accomplish something. Mm-hmm. What is that?
Right.
So I would say if I'm Bill Belichick, I need to get in the damn playoff.
Mm-hmm.
If I coach these
playoffs, like, I
the
didn't
playoff
even know
just
they
start,
had a football
we have the
team.
12-team playoff started this year. It's the first year of it.
I do know that they
Yeah.
have a
So
football
I mean,
team.
at the very least, I'm looking at this saying, I got to get this team in the playoff. That's the goal. We'll get in the playoffs and see what happens. But in a 3-year window, that's your objective. I mean, he's not putting in all this staff money and all this other stuff to go 6-5 or 5. So that's got to be the goal. Yeah. And he's a competitive guy. You want to win. You're not going to tolerate losing. That's part of it. I said it earlier. Like he's probably bored. Like doing doing the fucking Manning cast and telling old Lawrence Taylor stories on every podcast.
I mean, like literally every podcast.
That's it. Like that's boring. There's when you're a competitive person, there's a competitive
Lawrence Taylor
fire.
Stories are very
epic.
Oh yeah.
I
haven't heard a boring one yet.
I love Lawrence Taylor stories for sure. But I'm just saying, like
better than Dennis Rodman stories.
Maybe I don't know.
I tried.
The Dennis Rodman stories.
I tried.
But if you're a competitive guy, like it's not okay to just sit around and talk.
Yeah.
Like you need something that gets up every day and makes you want to live.
And this is a big challenge.
Yeah.
Like most people are saying, like, oh, why not like a Alabama or like a true
Yeah.
But this is a challenge, and shit. If he can't turn this around and get this team into the playoffs, that's crazy.
But we say this, but it's a challenge, but it's also an excuse. You go to North Carolina, you get this team in the playoffs in a 3-year window. You walk away a hero.
Yeah.
You go to Alabama, you go to a bigger school. You go 3 years, you don't win a title. You're a failure.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to look at how this is hedging your bet.
Yeah.
Right.
And with North Carolina, I mean, it's a prestigious school. I'm sure they can muster a lot of money. Hit up Michael Jordan for a few bucks. Like seriously, like and he's looking at it that way, and you can maybe kind of make a run and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But there's an element of this where you're hedging your bet. You're not putting yourself in that top 5 program where you have to do it or you're a failure. You're giving yourself an out. Hey, I went to North Carolina. When's the last time they won anything? And I got them here. I did this. It's just kind of like,
he has nowhere to go but up.
Well, but you're also just protecting yourself on the high end,
right?
Because you don't have that real expectation that, hey man, there's no way Belichick shouldn't win 2 titles in 3 years there. But if he went to Alabama, that's exactly what they would want.
No, for sure. Now, a couple of quick things here. We'll run through these. I just thought was interesting and funny. You got the Carolina Panthers receiver, right? they were playing the Philadelphia Eagles. He dropped a pass that could have won the game.
Yeah.
Right. And which is interesting because I needed him to drop that pass. I won some money, and I had the Eagles.
It's all about you.
But he was like, after the game, he was like, man, I had to cancel everything. I called my homeboy up and told him, hey, I'm not going to the Rod Wave concert. I canceled all of my plans. Like two things for me on that. One, I like it that, even though he's an NFL player, he's super rich and this and that, he feels, it hurt him that he missed a big play in a big game. Like that hurt him. Two, the last place you probably want to go to if you're sad is a Rod Wave concert. Like bad things can happen. Like you might not come out of that alive.
This could go
Like
really
last
bad.
Like
This
definitely
could go
take,
really
take
bad.
your.
I like Rod Wave in doses. I'll never forget. I was checking out his new album. It was a lot of hype around his new album. The very first song, the very first words that came out of his mouth. You ever felt like you was worthless? Like you ain't worth shit? I was like, that. Like that's the type of you don't want to go to a Rod Wave concert.
Yeah.
If you're down on yourself, okay.
But this guy's hysterically funny to begin with, though.
Oh, is he?
He's played at South Carolina last year. He's when you listen to him talk, he's like deep South country.
Oh,
guy.
that's him. That's that guy. Yeah.
I mean, he's just enjoyable to listen to talk. I mean, he's a riot. And then that's funny that he would be kind of like, but it's kind of on brand for him to just kind of be like open and honest and, I didn't want to do nothing after that. Like, that's part of his charm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty funny.
Nah, that's for sure. Now the next quick thing here. I don't know if you saw this. The entire Marshall football team is about to enter the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Because of a coaching change. Did you hear about this at all?
Yeah, their coach took a new job, and I guess a lot of guys want to follow him. So, yeah.
See, when I first heard about this, I thought that maybe like he was fired unjustly. Like that's how.
Oh, and it was like a protesting? No,
yeah.
No. I mean, I think they just really love the guy.
Well, they can't all follow him to the same,
Nah, there's going to be a reality that kicks in, but yeah. I mean, in a weird way, you kind of got to feel awesome if you're him.
So did he get a job NFL? Well, he's
No,
at another college.
No, a college
He's at another
job.
college, so transfer
They can't
portal.
put themselves in the portal and go to the
that's-
NFL. Like, come on, Jay. I thought you knew a little bit about sports.
I'm trying to keep up with you guys.
No, you're doing good.
But yeah,
So where did he go? Where is he going?
I forget where he went.
Is he going to a different conference,
what
a
I'm
better
looking up.
conference?
Just a different school. I can't remember. It wasn't like a SEC school or something. So I also think like that.
Southern Miss.
Southern Miss. Okay. Yeah.
That's SEC, isn't it?
No. It's Ole Miss. Southern Miss is like in the dark woods.
Yeah, but I think it's still a bigger job than
bigger
Marshall.
job than Marshall. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because and he led Marshall to a Sun Belt, conference championship.
Yeah, no, I love this, man.
Yeah,
this is pretty cool. You want to go follow your coach, and that's I hope a chunk of those guys get to do it.
He gets to go to Southern Miss and be like, hey. I'm bringing my
luggage.
I'm bringing my luggage. I'm bringing my luggage with me.
Yeah.
Shout out to Deion, man.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that is cool.
And he's a black coach, so I'm excited about that. He's got another job lined up, so that's a good thing.
And since we're talking about Marshall, let's talk about Randy Moss. He's got liver cancer, apparently.
Yeah, man.
Really sad times. Yeah.
He stepped away from his commentating gig.
Yeah.
And what's the safety's cornerback's name? Oh my gosh, cornerback. And he does a lot of commentating as well.
Ryan.
No, that's a great guess though. He went to a prestigious school high up. It's on the tip of my San Francisco 49ers.
Jerry Rice.
No, cornerback. San Francisco 49ers recently. Richard Sherman.
I was just going to say that.
No, you weren't.
So Richard Sherman was on Twitter, but his dad was on Twitter and was like, hey, man, everybody pray for Randy Moss, and he's going through this liver thing and this and that. And then Richard Sherman came on there and was like, hey, Dad, got to give him his privacy. Don't write this, delete it, this and that. Let Randy come out and say it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was interesting. He's checking his dad on Twitter.
No, that is funny. That is funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sad. I mean, Randy Moss started at Florida State. I played basketball with him one time. That was pretty awesome.
You played basketball with Randy
Yeah.
Moss.
It was pickup. We weren't,
Okay.
on a team together.
I thought you were like just what do you do? Rebound the ball to him or something like that? Was that what you were doing?
Fuck off. No, we're hooping in open gym at FSU. But yeah, no, he was. He's one of those athletes though. Like you will always remember watching Randy Moss play.
Always.
Didn't he start out playing basketball and then he ended up in football?
Him and Jason Williams, White Chocolate, grew up together in West Virginia. They played high school basketball and high school football together.
30 for 30 or something.
Yeah, there's a 30 for 30.
Did Jay Will play football?
Played some quarterback.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How was he? I wonder.
I mean, he claimed to be good.
Oh, okay.
But I don't doubt it. I mean,
but it's because he's such a great passer in basketball.
Right, for sure.
So
for sure.
that's interesting.
Yeah. And then he went to Florida State, then he went to Marshall and had a great run there, and then to the Vikings. So.
Why did he leave Florida State for Marshall?
So basically, Randy Moss in high school was committed to go to Notre Dame and Lou Holtz at the time. And he got arrested for something like marijuana, some bullshit thing. And Notre Dame, had some high standards. And the legend is that he called Bobby Bowden and he's like, hey, we can't take him. You need to take him. And but Bobby Bowden, to get him in, it was like a zero tolerance. We'll bring you down. You'll sit for the first year. And then from there, if you do everything you need to do, take care of business, away you go. And he did go down there, but then he had an issue down there. Some got, smoking or something like that. And they had to kick him out. Yeah. So we would have had it. I mean, if everything stayed on track, you would have had wide receiver core of Peter Warwick and Randy Moss.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. It would have been insane. It would have been insane.
And you got still one with Peter, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that still would have been crazy.
Yeah. No, we beat Mike Vick in the final.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Liver cancer is probably not a good one, but I hope something positive could happen because he's my favorite receiver I've ever watched play.
Monster, just a freak monster.
Yeah,
yeah, seriously.
So was Jerry Rice a receiver too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's up there.
He wasn't a cornerback like you suggested earlier.
don't they both catch the ball?
They do.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Wow.
Well, switching lanes completely here. You may be able to keep up with speed here. So in Florida, have you guys seen this? The state of Florida will ban anyone under the age of 14 from owning a social media account, deleting all existing accounts. I didn't even know this was possible.
How are they?
Yeah, I don't know. How does that work?
Yeah. But
how are you able to delete it? Well, first off, the guy in the picture is a fucking asshole.
Total ass.
And so
probably has his white boots on. With
I
the
can't wait for his funeral. And anything that he does is moronic, and this is in that category.
I just don't understand how they'd be able to delete the accounts. Like if you a lot of those accounts under whatever 14, you're usually tied to your parents' account or some other adult account or something.
Could be. And like, how do you do that? I mean, these are like global platforms. Like, how do you do that just in Florida?
How do you access these individual accounts?
But just in Florida.
Yeah.
Like, does your account suddenly go back on when you roll up into Georgia?
Exactly.
Like, I don't understand this.
It's just so absurd.
But yeah, this is just typical of these imbeciles that they're investing, legislative capital to do stuff that just doesn't fucking matter.
It's absurd. Exactly.
How do we benefit from this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no benefit. So, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. If they could actually do it, I do think there's a benefit to it.
What's the benefit?
Why?
I mean, kids are like really addictive to social media. Anything that can pull them away from something and sort of like the idea of it. I understand the idea of it. You pull them away from social media some or all, and then that would bring more time for them to study.
It's too late for that.
It's not happening. That's not how kids work.
Yeah, I understand if you're talking about the 13 or 14-year-old right now, right? But what about the 7, 8, 9, 10? If you catch them early, I don't know. I'm not saying it will work. I'm just saying I can see the train of thought.
It's not for the government to determine that. It's up to the individual parents. Yes, absolutely.
And beyond that, like kids are going to get like addicted to something.
Right.
Like, so like social media wasn't quite as big when my kids were younger or smaller, but they had like the little handheld game systems and the other games. That's what kids do. Yeah. Like kids. Like, if you're not going to service their attention, they're going to find something to do with it.
Right.
And it's not going to be fucking school because that's thrust upon them.
Well, they don't really want them to pay much attention in school, too, because remember, they're like banning books, burning books, telling the teachers that they're going to have like
restrictive,
guardians in the school now. Just all kinds of craziness. So it's not like he's trying to focus
if you look at the hypocrisy of this, it's beyond stupid because they don't want to teach original race or critical race theory or any of that. They don't want to actually educate people. But we are going to worry about what you're looking at on social media.
On social media.
It's moronic.
Yeah.
Absolutely moronic. But beyond that, like, kids demand attention. And if they're not getting it, they're going to go find it somewhere. And it's not in what they're forced to do and go to school. It's going to be video games. It's going to be, other stuff on the internet that's not social media. It's whatever. But you have to, as a parent, you have to kind of set priorities,
the standards,
but it's not just the standards. You have to inspire.
Right.
That's the different thing. You've got to put your kid out there to do and try things, and when they show you what they care about, you got to push and follow it. Follow them and support them in doing what they want to do. Then you'll have an okay kid. But this restrictive nonsense, this is not the answer. This is a lazy answer. But it's not going to fix any problems.
Yeah, it's just really for him to, pander to the, Moms for Liberty and those other people that think that that's going to stop people from, or to get rid of the woke people because they have access to this, to social media that allegedly creates more left-leaning lunatics or something like that.
In their view.
Yeah.
But this accomplishes nothing. This is typical idiocy, and it doesn't address the real problem of engaging and inspiring kids. That's the only job that there is in raising kids.
That you brought this up because my son actually wrote a paper for school. He's at UNC Asheville. And so he wrote a paper on it, and he sent it to me for me to read it. And I was like, some of the things that his position was that they should, instead of banning it, to like restrict the hours, like parents restricting the hours or access to it, right? Which is what you would think that would be the best way to deal with that versus the government intrusion, just like they want to intrude into, or that they are intruding into women's vaginas. Now they want to tell you what to do with your children at home. It's just absurd.
I'm a big fan of intruding into women's vaginas. I gotta say, let's keep things in perspective here.
I can't do it with you.
Come on, what are we talking about?
Those are some good points though, because I came in initially like I can kind of see their train of thought on this. But the more you guys talk, I kind of lean on your guys' side more. And plus, I don't have any kids.
It's like television. When I was growing up, and then one of the things I was telling my son, like when I was growing up, at 10 o'clock the TV went off, right? Or at 11 o'clock, right? Like the flags come on, and there was no TV. Like you were restricted as far as.
No, like
back in the day,
the actual TV.
TV.
Like even my TV, really? Even when I was growing up, like the TV just goes off.
Right.
Not my parents turning it off.
That wasn't happening in the white community.
Really. So, but when I grew up in England, you just there was like a certain amount of time that they had children's shows on, and then there was like all kinds of other stuff, and then the TV went off at like 11 o'clock at night.
Really? Yeah.
So that.
Yeah, I don't
it's
know,
up
man.
To us.
I just I didn't put any restrictions on my kids. there was no rules, there was no bedtime, there was no nothing. You just had to be up to do what you had to do. And if that was go to school, you had to be up to go to school. You couldn't lay around and not go. You know, if you wanted to stay up late after I already went to bed and do whatever you're doing, okay, but the bell rings at this time and you got to be ready to go and you got to perform. And, you know, and then even if that's, you know, outside curricular activities. But what it always comes down to with kids is kids that are not parented end up in front of social media, but if it's not that, they're going to end up playing video games. They're going to end up in front of a television when nobody's engaging them.
Right.
That's a problem of parenting. It's not something you can legislate away. Like, you have to have your kids like doing stuff, and you got to like not, you know, do it because you want them to do it. Like, you got to like give them options and then encourage. And then when they show an interest in something, it's like, all right, well, let's roll with that.
Right.
And do that. And that's the only way you're going to get them to be like motivated and inspired. And I think when you look at all these, you know, this notion that they're kids these days, they don't do this, they don't. That's bullshit. That's a reflection of your lazy parenting. And I'm not talking about parenting with a bunch of rules and restrictive stuff, because at some point that chicken's going to come home to roost, and the daughter you spent 20 years protecting is going to fuck like a slut, and the son that you're going to, you know, did all this shit, he's going to do drugs and drink to excess. That don't work. That don't work. You have to like raise them with options and moderation.
How were you raised? Were you raised with options and moderation, or were you, were your parents very strict?
Some of both. And I was raised in multiple households too, so it's a little different. Yeah. Like a lot of sometimes I had to go to my grandparents' house. I was raised by my grandparents, and sometimes and they were very strict. You know, they were very strict and restrictive and religious, and you had to go to church 4 days a week and this and that. And my parents were more relaxed. It was a more relaxed environment. There's still a little, you know, you had to do some stuff, take out the trash and stuff like that. But yeah, a little more relaxed parents. But yeah, couldn't stay there.
I saw something interesting on Instagram about chores and the correlation between having your child do chores and the success later in life.
Did they have chores at least?
No.
Oh, okay, no chores.
No.
Julian, I tried the chores thing with him. I had like the chores chart.
Like a list?
I had a chart.
Did that work?
No.
So they're saying, saying like the kids that have chores have a better chance of being successful.
Yeah, it teaches them organization and goals and stuff
I
like that.
always had chores. Did you have chores?
No.
You didn't have chores growing up either?
No. I didn't. My mom is the type of person that like she likes things done a particular way. So if you try to do something and it's not in her exacting way, she's just going to get out of the way. You don't know what you're doing. My dad, he was like, you know, he was a very like, he is like a very handy person. Like he can fix a lot of stuff and figure out a lot of problems. And like, but I never had the patience to really like learn, and it never interested me to like kind of follow in what he's doing in that respect. Now, I mean, he raced motorcycles, and I was drawn to that, and you know, kind of the success of that, and the way people treated and respected him through that. That was very appealing to me. But just a lot of just the, you know, something breaks and he finds out how to fix it, and it just never attracted me.
So we had gender roles in my house. So
what is it?
Gender roles, like as
Okay.
girls, we had to do certain things, like
that's how it
take
was my
care
grandparents.
of, you know, like the house, and then my brother did, you know, cut the grass, and he hung out with my dad, change the oil or whatever. But my son didn't. I tried the chores thing, but he just kind of was just doing whatever. But he ended up getting into sports, and that's where, you know, we both have like, you know, I think his being interested in sports, and he didn't just start playing basketball. Like I had him in golf, I had him in, you know, he played piano, I had him doing all kinds of tennis, everything. I just tried everything with him because I was like, you need to do something outside of sitting in the house and watching TV or playing, what is that, Fortnite crap. But yeah, there was like gender roles, and I think that if I was to do it over again, I would definitely have him just, you know, follow, like do chores and make sure that he understands that there are things that he should do, and to set goals, more goals. At least start them younger doing stuff like that.
I think it helped me, especially the time with my grandparents, because like my granddaddy was the handy guy, right? And he had his own like mechanic shop and all of that stuff. So yeah, I grew like learning how to change a tire, like that was my chore, to go to the shop, and I was the change a tire kid, and cutting grass and all that. Just knowing how to do that stuff, I do think that helped me. My dad was a cook. And I didn't follow that. Like, my dad cooked everything in the house. Like, my mom never cooked.
Okay, so I was kind of getting it. So, like, the stuff that your grandfather was doing, was that stuff that you were kind of just, like, seemed interesting to you at the time versus cooking or other stuff?
It felt more forced.
What did?
The stuff with my granddaddy. It did feel more forced.
It felt more forced.
Like it was forced upon. I had to do this stuff because I did. I had to do it.
Okay.
Or it was going to be a big problem if I didn't do this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But whatever, I ended up learning it though. You know what I mean? Like like
Yeah.
I have that skill set.
Did you have to get up at the crack of dawn?
Oh man, before before the birds start roosting.
That's funny.
No matter what.
Yeah.
And you're like just completely willy nilly. You have sisters, right?
Yeah.
Were your sisters? Did they have like any type of chores?
I kind of stopped paying attention to those guys when I reached middle school. I just kind of like, I don't know. Like I just, as like the two things that I hated that I was forced to do, and this shaped my parenting. I had to go to church and I had to eat like vegetables with dinner. And I hated those things. And when I became an adult, I was like, I ain't doing this shit anymore, ever. And then my thinking as I became a parent was, whatever I force on them is what they're going to not do. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to create that situation. So I didn't want to, go down that road at all. So I stayed away from it. And I felt like if I'm going to force somebody to do something, they're going to hate it. Because that's just how my mind works. I hate these fucking vegetables. I don't want to eat them, but you're making me eat them. It's like, fuck you. Like, that's not, cool at all. That's just, that's how it was with me. And that's how I process things. Now, I mean, there was a period of time when I was cutting grass. I got an allowance to cut the grass, but that wasn't a bad task.
No.
You're just kind of pushing. We had the mower.
Yeah.
You push it, you get a little exercise. You get some thoughts to yourself. Nobody's bothering you when you're pushing a mower.
I found more in the grass and washing dishes. Like my thoughts, I can
you could do some thinking. So that never bothered me. Yeah, I remember there was kind of like. It wasn't like a chore, but it was like connected. So I know at one point I needed to get like a new bike. And so my dad, he had this motorcycle trailer. And so I had to sand down the trailer and then he would get me the bike. And so it was like a trade off. And so hey, I don't like sanding the trailer, but I know there's a reward at the end of it. So I'm going to do it. I don't know.
And see, that's life.
Yeah, that is life. I mean, sometimes there's no reward though. But I don't know. My parents were, again, they were people that did stuff. My mom got up. She always cleaned the house. She, when I was in middle school, she started working outside the house to make money for me to go to college and my sisters to go to college. My dad always worked, and then he raced.
Your parents paid for you to go to college?
Undergrad.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they had, my dad, he had racing was his passion, but he worked, and it just, they were always doing stuff. And then when I wanted to do stuff, when I was Little League Baseball or Pop Warner football and stuff, they supported that. Like, it just was, this is just kind of how you do things. It was just, they led by example. It wasn't had to be a bunch of rules, my mom was always big on being on time and having a plan. And so I'm mostly like that. I'm very seldom late anywhere. And I get kind of antsy when there's not some plan. Like if we're just sitting here and there's no idea what the hell we're doing, that gets on my nerves. I like to have some sort of structure or purpose to what I'm doing, or I go find something else to do where I'm going to find that. So, my parents did a good job, I guess, of parenting, more through example than a bunch of asinine rules.
Right.
And then I kind of doubled down
to the
on
next
that.
level. You took it to the next level, but still similar. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Didn't know that either. I didn't know that stuff.
I think, my parents were really strict. So when we were, once I was that girl once I got out. I was like,
It-
I was off
it
the
is-
chain. I
But
was
it is
off.
every single.
But I think what we're hearing though, I don't think either way is a bad way.
Right.
It's not a bad way.
No, because I think it
don't
helped
think
me.
the rules. I don't think help. Honestly,
I don't think it hurts either though. I think that's what you're hearing because you
depends
don't.
I
how
think
bad
it's
you're
about-
slutting it out.
I think it also you have to you do, at least for me, I did learn structure. Like I know what I wanted to do with my son and what I didn't want to do with my son. One of the things was I wasn't going to make it where, if you masturbate, you're gonna go blind. Like I didn't feel like I was
Like
gonna
operate through fear.
Right.
You're going to
wasn't-
operate through actual information.
Yeah.
And not
that was not
fear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, and I didn't feel like I was going to beat him over the head about religion either. We didn't go to church that
But I
much.
think that's funny though. Like in both of us, seemingly like took conscious steps to get away from the structure, like loosen the structure and do it that way.
Yeah.
That you resented it at some level.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put my kid in that same situation.
Yeah.
Whatever that structure was for each of us, it was to get the fuck away from it.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. All right, another couple of quick things there, but before we get there, quick shout out to our sponsor, Royal13thebrand.com. Again, that is Royal13thebrand.com. Use promo code Bubba Ping and be fresh. All right. Let's go here, man. Let's go here. Really, really quick here. Thought this was interesting. A Jacksonville store employee got run over and killed by shoplifters after confronting them in the parking lot. Again, super crazy, sad story. It's unfortunate, but you're just doing way too much, guy or girl. You're doing way too much.
It wasn't even a security guard. It was
No,
just like an
it was
employee. Just a
yes,
random employee.
Just a random
Just
store
getting
employee.
paid like $10 an hour.
Yes. I know it's your job, and you probably love this job, but that was a bad idea.
It's Christmas
Yeah.
time.
It's a bad idea.
What's that got to do with anything?
You can't go after running. You can't go after running after people for stealing stuff
Somebody
in the store.
else's stuff.
Yeah, somebody else's stuff.
Well, I mean, it at some point you are responsible for your own personal safety.
Yeah.
And your decision making contributes to that. And it's like, hey, you know what? Even if they're stealing stealing all the money they have in their wallet, and maybe they got $1,500 in a wallet, is your life worth that? You know, what is the controllable situation here? You're running out there, unarmed, and they're now in a moving vehicle. Like, what's the plan?
I was at Walmart a couple months. I think I told you about maybe 2 months ago. I'm walking out of Walmart, and these guys come out with like these televisions in a cart, and they're like running, like, just speeding across the parking lot. And there was this other couple, this white couple, standing beside me, and so I see them running, and the lady from Walmart is just like standing there looking, watching them go to their cars. And they're like, "Oh, we should get in front of them and stop." And I'm like, I was looking at them like, no, not we. Maybe you guys. And she's like, "I should have done this." And I'm like looking at them like, are you crazy? These guys, you don't even know what the hell. They were like, they just they were like, "Get in the car, let's go. And I'm like, there's no way
Absolutely
I'm getting
no
involved
way.
in that.
I have one
Like,
scenario
moving out of
that
the
I
way.
will regret till the day I die. When we went up to Rucker Park for the Bitcoin Classic tournament, I was walking. I was going to get food or something, and I was walking down one of the blocks, and there was like one of these stores on the corner that had a bunch of stuff, and they were selling some clothing like on the sidewalk.
Okay.
And somebody comes out of the store, and they grab a bunch of like pants, and I'm just walking. But the person is not looking in the direction I am. They're looking back at the store person. And I had a beautiful opportunity to just lay this fucker out with a tackle. Like would never have seen it coming.
The spear.
Yeah, I just could have lit this motherfucker up. I didn't even have to stop him. I could have just walked on, but it would have been the greatest tackle of my life. I mean, I could have absolutely lit this motherfucker up, and I didn't do it. I just was kind of
You did the right thing.
Stepped
No, I
out of
didn't.
the way.
You did
a
the
jerk.
right
No,
thing.
I regret that. I
You don't
regretted
know
that.
what that guy. You still don't know what he had on him.
It didn't matter.
It did matter.
No,
What if he had a little pocket knife or something? He could have
He was
jugged
gonna
you.
get lit up.
He wasn't. Yeah, but he wasn't gonna be like out for the count.
No, but what is he gonna do?
I don't. You never
Put
know.
you
That's the
in a-
point.
If I just
You know,
get up and walk away
body
from the play,
scissors or
nothing's happening to
something.
me. He would not have been in a position to. He had his hands full of jeans. He's turning, doesn't see me coming.
Listen to me. You did the right thing.
No, I
Why
did not.
Why would you
I've-
even think? I would have been like, what the hell? I hope he's not coming towards me.
No, because you never. And he wasn't like a big person. Like,
Yeah, I
you're
understand.
not
I
gonna
understand
have
you
a
sized him
better
up
chance
properly.
to hit a guy like that.
Yeah, but
I mean, I haven't hit or tackled
Yeah,
anybody
I think
since.
that's a white person thing. Like,
Really?
I
I thought it was a football thing.
No, it's not a football thing.
We
I
are
thought it
not
was a
thinking
football.
about
It's not a
stuff like
football
that.
thing.
Because I processed it completely as a football thing. I looked at it. I'm like, I haven't gotten to tackle somebody at full speed in years, and this would have been such a beautiful opportunity.
you'd have been the next guy on one of these shows.
So what do you guys think about the guy getting away with killing the I guess he was like on the train in New York, Jordan Neely?
The white guy?
Yeah.
What are we supposed to think about
I mean,
this?
I'm like,
I haven't heard about this.
he was
Performing
performing on the train. This black guy was performing on the train, and this white guy who was in the military or something like former military, something happened where he ended up putting him in a chokehold and he killed him.
Mm-hmm.
So people were like telling him to let go, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker," and he killed him. So he just got
Maybe
acquitted.
PTSD.
No.
Huh?
No. He just said that he was going to stop him because he felt like he was harassing the other people on the train. And he was acquitted. And the judge threw out, I guess, the most serious charge. The judge threw it out, and then the jury found him not guilty. So, there's just, again, like, I don't know. I mean, I lived in New York. I understand the whole thing with the train, and there's crazy people on the train. But if you have restrained him and he's no longer a threat, why would you keep choking him
why do you
out
go
until?
Well, it's the George Floyd thing. Like you got control of the situation physically, and everything was okay, and you pushed it to a level where you kill a guy. Like, that's not right. Like, that's not justifiable, and he should be convicted of that. And it's yet another failure of our justice system that this guy gets exonerated.
Yeah.
I mean, that just is what it is. I mean, it's not a black and white thing. Once you suppress the threat and you have physical control of the situation, that's all you need to do. You know?
Yeah, and especially with him having like military training, that sounds like just a severe mismatch. Once you have control of the situation, he's no threat to you or anybody else.
Yeah,
and it sounds like he wasn't a threat to anyone to begin with.
Well, yeah,
But that's
like
a different story.
He was like a Michael Jackson impersonator,
Really?
like on there just with a joke.
yeah. I mean, unless you're a small boy, everyone else is. How deep are we taking the impersonating? There's small boys in this train.
Allegedly, Michael Jackson did nothing. It was all Diddy and now Jay-Z, right?
Speaking of, that's you
I'm
have a
like-
future in this business.
Nah,
Yeah,
I'm like-
that's the next topic.
I think everybody does what people say they do.
Yeah,
I just really do. If there's smoke, there's fire. Like, you're just not, it just
so you
doesn't-
think it's something to
It
this?
doesn't come out of nowhere.
Now, my first thought to anything that happens with something like this is why civil? Like, whether it's when it happens in NFL, when it happens in NBA, when the women come out, I'm like, why civil? This is such heinous.
Because the statute of limitations has expired on.
It could. I don't know the statute of limitations in this situation, but again, I mean, there's always the question: why wasn't this brought up when it happened? Yeah, and I get that, and and there's other people on the other side of this that that they'll say, when you're traumatized by these types of events, that you're not comfortable. You try to suppress.
As
it
a woman, is
mentally
that
and this
valid?
and that.
Well, I guess you can't speak for every
Well,
woman on the planet, but I'm just asking.
I think that there is that level of trauma that you don't want to, you don't want to relive it. You don't want to talk about it because sometimes, you feel a level of shame, right? Like it's your fault. So it just depends on, especially when it's sexual battery. Unless it's like some random person hitting you over the head. If it's someone you know or someone that you met and that happens, there's a lot of other feelings of shame and guilt, like maybe I caused that. And so you're not necessarily going to go to a police officer or you won't want to report it.
And again,
in this
you
particular
go to somebody
case, a 13-year-old girl,
this age group,
her parents had to have known about
not
this.
necessarily. That's what I'm like. So I think I was going to go next level. If you're like whatever 18 to 24, whatever, and something happens to you, you're kind of processing it like individually. You're kind of also in that place where and everybody's relationship with their parents isn't the same, but like you're kind of like an adult and you're kind of not sharing every bit of your life with your parents, and you're kind of isolated in a way. But the same, like when you're talking about this young age category, 13 years old, like they might not even know how to process what the hell just happened.
Right.
And they don't necessarily want to run and tell their parents because they don't understand what happened. Like really what happened.
Right.
And they're going to be like, they're not going to go tell their parents right away. They're going to just try and hide it and whatever. And then then now years pass and whatever, and now you're in a whole different situation. But I mean, that's I don't know. I mean, I would be curious to see, like, of the total amount of sexual assaults across genders, across age groups, like how many people really like immediately have the urge to report or even tell somebody?
Yeah.
Even like a friend or family member. Or is there typically and I don't know the stats, but I would be curious if the stats support an idea that like there's almost always a period of just like processing that's not where you're just running to either authorities or family or friends or anybody to discuss it.
And that's the gap that I have because I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
But along these lines, I mean, we know that they were fucking around with 15-year-olds, so 13
Not particular Jay-Z. Not particularly Jay-Z.
Didn't he hang out with Aaliyah too? Didn't he hit that?
He was in the mix.
Not like hit, like reportedly, but yeah, he music wise and all of that stuff. But it was
Like
that was
R.
R.
Kelly
Kelly. That was R. Kelly with Aaliyah.
But I read something that he was.
Yeah. There's always been rumors about him with her,
with Rihanna.
Yeah.
And Rihanna.
When she was
and
she
it
was
was
young.
another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
I mean, there may be some truth to that.
I mean, I hate to say this.
I don't know about the raping. I mean, but it is sexual assault. So, right,
consensual sex with 13-year-olds. Is that where we're at now?
No, I'm not saying that. But
maybe
like
house.
raping, it's like sensationalizes it, right? It's a sexual battery. I totally agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's far-fetched.
That's
given the fact that they're all, they all were hanging out together.
All these dudes were moving around in the same circle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they have remained essentially close from what we can see.
Right.
If you, I mean, again, I would kind of ask the question, like, if you have a close friend who you become aware is doing really fucked up shit, like, would you not create some space?
I would, yeah. I would definitely create some space.
I mean, if they're just into
just
some
want
shit
that
that you're
shit to
just
get on me,
not
right.
comfortable with at all, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to hang with that person.
But you know that eventually you're going to become president of the United States, so why would you want it? No, I'm just kidding.
But you know what a lot of these guys are saying, including Jamie Foxx in the special, what everybody is saying. Oh, yeah, I went to a daddy party too, but I left way before anything.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
crazy with
everybody
that. I
left,
never
yeah.
was around.
Yeah,
with it.
yeah,
I'd never seen anything crazy. That's what literally 100% of these guys are saying.
Right. And 100% of these people did not do that.
Right.
There's no way. There's no way. There's
people were at the party.
That's what I'm saying. There's probably some people that did that had kind of like a discipline about themselves. I think there's probably a lot more people that might have stayed for a night or two. And to their credit, maybe they like
just watched.
I ain't going back to that. Like that's not me.
Yeah, because I it's a guy in the city. He throws parties, right? And because I could see the setup, because it's like, yeah, it's a normal party, everybody comes, has a good time, and then there's a select group that stays for like that, and there's
the after hours.
There's like strippers and things like that, and we have a good time. Well, I was only there for a time or two, but that happens, right?
Yeah.
There's like an after party after the after party, and yeah.
No, for sure. That's that's definitely the thing.
But you would think like these guys that were reportedly like together all the time, the Jay-Z, the Diddy's,
That's
the
why
Meeks and,
like to me that's the thing. There's no way you're around these guys and in this
And you're
setting
not
for a
aware
long
of
time
it.
and you don't become aware.
yeah, especially if you call a guy a friend.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what I'm saying. And it's not like they've had some falling out. Like
Right.
I could
He's
see
been really, really quiet.
Super
Jay-Z.
quiet. Yeah.
Jay-Z has
Super
been
quiet.
unusually silent
And that's
on everything.
Yeah, and again, like with other people in other situations, he's kind of like been supportive or picked a side, or or maybe tried to help with some legal fees or whatever.
Right.
He has literally
Silent.
sat this thing out.
Yeah.
Until now, it's like coming at him.
Yeah, he even jumped in the Megan Thee Stallion Tory thing.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And it's like so I just really I find this entirely believable. This doesn't surprise me in any way. Yeah, and again with the Aaliyah thing, like all these dudes were around Aaliyah. They knew how old she was. They
Chris
knew
is saying
somebody was fucking her.
by the time Jay-Z got with her, she was of age. That's,
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
oh,
whatever.
okay.
She was also rode hard and put up wet at that point. It is what it is.
I never heard that term.
Me either.
I love that term. but that's the thing, It's like you're again like okay, because Dame Dash fucked her, right?
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
he
I'm
was
sure.
heartbroken.
I'm sure.
He was
that
heartbroken.
Yeah, they broke.
So yeah, and then like you knew she's out there banging dudes in your industry. Like, oh, I'm gonna wait another 6 months and it'll be all good. Like, dude, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, what's going on.
Yeah. But now he did respond to this.
Yeah.
And basically was just like, these are really heinous crimes. Why civil? So I'm sure he's going to fight it.
Dared her to, or dared
It was
the
something like
person
that,
to,
yeah.
to go. And
Oh, wait, I mean,
they were talking about the lawyer, that the lawyer is like some
The
kind
lawyer,
of, like,
he
shithead.
hunts down
Yeah,
celebrities.
Busby. Yeah. He's the
Yeah.
same guy with Deshaun
Yeah.
Watson.
Yeah.
But so going back to the criminal civil thing too. I mean, there is something there. It's definitely because again, if something happened, the best time to investigate it and whatever is as soon as possible to the time that it occurred, because you have the best opportunity for physical evidence. You have the best opportunity for corroboration and evidence of people who may have seen something and could testify to it with some relatively fresh recollection of the events. So that's very real. I mean, if you were to, and I know like it is traumatic, but like if you want to do things the right way, if you have had something done to you, the best thing to do is to report it. I mean, if you want to get out information and help people, that's what you need to encourage people to do.
Along those same lines, when it comes to sexual assault, a lot of times women don't even want to have a conversation with a male police officer because they're like, they hear just like in this particular case, I'm sure they probably told her, nobody's going to believe you. I'm the successful mogul and I'm the successful rapper and you're like just this 13-year-old chick that I picked up from the park. So again, they don't want to go
right off the jungle gym.
They're not necessarily
I have a
going
swing in
to
my
be-
house.
to go in and report that. So it's like you're putting the onus on a 13-year-old girl who you just finished saying that she's not even able to process stuff.
Yeah.
And yet you expect her to just go in and explain or tell someone how she was just violated. That's just really, really difficult to do. That's why
I'm not discounting the difficulty of doing it, but there is a reality in terms of evidence collection and proof that is compromised when you're not able to do that.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
You know what else is interesting from the lawyer standpoint? Because a lot of people, this lawyer only tracks down the celebrities and hunts down the celebrities. First of all, like. That's these celebrities, they must be doing something, man, because he has a high success rate. First of all, of successfully getting these civil claims. That's number one. Like if these people are not doing anything at all, not all of these civil, claims would be,
Right, they
becoming
wouldn't pay
successful.
out,
Well,
right.
and
They
that's
wouldn't
why
pay
I
out.
said at the beginning is I tend to believe that most of this stuff happens, because it's just if you conduct yourself a certain way, like these things don't even come up,
Yeah.
like ever, But if you're conducting yourself a different way, it becomes plausible.
Yeah.
And then just kind of going back to the criminal and the civil. The criminal, you're relying on law enforcement to do a job. You're relying on a state attorney's office to have confidence that they're going to be able to prove a case. And they can be largely indifferent to both of these things.
Right.
And again, you look at the cops, there's plenty of low-hanging fruit. They could issue traffic citations and stuff like that rather than a case that could be difficult to prove or work up, particularly against a high-profile person. And then even at the state attorney level, who would be charged with prosecuting the crime, a lot of those people are politically bent. They want to move up that food chain, and one of the ways to do that is have a good success rate. And a lot of times taking on a difficult case or a case that's not everything wrapped up
It's
with a
not
bow for
sexy.
you,
Yeah.
you're not going to mess with it because you could get shamed on it. And especially there's still the stigma of attacking a high profile person. At again the peak of their powers in 2000 before anybody's really onto anything about them.
Yeah.
But when you go to the civil realm, it's about money, and what do all of these dudes have is plenty of money.
And they
And
want it to go away.
And
so
they and
willing
they have an
to
interest to
settle
go
that.
away. And so
Yeah.
if you're Tony Busby, your high success rate,
Yeah.
you don't if you take a case to trial, which is rare, you've just got to prove by a preponderance of the evidence, 51%, that people think this happened the way that it did, and you win. And you've got this whole thing of what celebrity, what well-moneyed person wants to be drugged through the mud with real testimony and real things. Now, if in a
It's
criminal
something
trial,
sexual.
in
That's
a
just not-
criminal trial, you could choose not to testify. You could take your Fifth Amendment like she did. We all know what that means. It means you're guilty. But you could do that and not testify. But in a civil case, you can be compelled to testify and answer questions. And that can be extremely uncomfortable. And the easiest way to shut the door on that is to say,
So,
okay,
pay.
what's the check?
Okay.
Right.
What are we doing?
And that's
And
whether
that's
you
it.
did it or not.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't want to be close to it, and again, and that goes a lot of ways because maybe you absolutely did what he's claiming you did, but maybe you didn't do what he's claiming you did, but you've got enough other stuff that you've done that it becomes collateral damage, and it's just I don't want any of it. I don't need any of that because you go back to like Deshaun Watson, like you first hear some strange encounter with a massage lady. But what ends up, that gets out and it catches wildfire. Now there's 70 massage girls telling a story about him. Now you look super weird.
Yeah.
What's up with the massages, dude?
Right.
Just have conventional sex. Nobody looks at him the same.
Yeah, so he probably should have just paid the first girl off instead of
If you have that
pushing
chance.
her off to the
And
side.
they say about the Diddy thing, they say that Cassie asked for money before the suit.
And he was
he might have been able to head this all off right then.
Yeah.
But he kind of wanted to be a bargain shopper.
Yeah.
He called the bluff on it. She filed suit, and he caved right away. And then it was like,
It's too late.
hey, why is this guy caving? $30 million? Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, definitely,
Did you
definitely see where
hear
that go.
along those lines? They said that Mary J. Blige was involved in some way.
I'm curious about her role.
That she was, I don't know.
You don't know what her
Young
role was?
boys? No, I have no idea. I was not there.
Yeah. All I know is Mary J started off as a really terrible actress, and now she's just a bad actress.
She got better.
Yeah, she got a little better.
You don't like her in what was that show?
She's awful, man.
Really?
In the Power stuff?
Power.
Yeah, she's
yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
She gets a tiny bit better as it goes because it's been multiple seasons, but yeah, she's awful. Yeah, one of the worst I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, she was that bad. Yeah, but you like her though.
As an actress?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I try to watch that Power stuff. I'm not a big.
Oh, it's the show. Well, I'm here to tell you, if it was a different person there,
It didn't matter.
you would like it a little better.
My mom likes Power, but I'm just.
I like
not
it. No, I like it. I like.
I tried to watch it. We were going to talk about it one time, I think on the old radio show. And
Yeah.
I watched an episode, just didn't get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta like that. It's crime and gritty and stuff like that.
I'm not a big crime guy. Like I used to be when I was younger. I was big into like the mafia movies, mafia books. I read a bunch of stuff on like the cocaine cowboys and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I liked organized crime, but then as I got older, it's just like, God, these guys are fucking idiots.
I was gonna say that's all this is, just black mafia crime stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Now what I hate though is the
music.
no.
that's
The New York the crime shows, but they're different type. I'm trying to think of a name. There's 1,000 of them.
The
Law
SVU
and
stuff.
Order.
SVU stuff, Law and
Yeah.
Order.
Oh, yeah.
I hate those things.
Really?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's literally the same thing over and
Just
over again. They
different
just
locations.
they just switch.
Yeah.
How can people watch 30 seasons of this stuff and in different shows?
I guess like okay, so like the thing that I find interesting, like when you have like basically like a straight sort of organized crime type of show, you're like, okay, these guys are just criminals. This is all they are. It's almost boring to me. But when you have a show that focuses on somebody committing a crime,
Yeah.
that's not necessarily a career criminal, I am always amused by the the psychological journey to get to that.
And that's kind of what they tackle.
Yeah, and they do. And
yeah.
so like I'm not I don't watch those shows too much at all, but I mean like I liked Criminal Minds.
Yeah,
because,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
when you're trying to like figure out just the psychology of people. Ever since I really got into Malcolm Gladwell, like how people think and why they behave the way they do is really fascinating to me.
So why you don't like the guy who's chopping everybody up? The psycho.
Dahmer?
Yeah, why you didn't like the
Jeffrey
Dahmer? Why you don't like Dahmer?
I basically already knew the story of that guy, and just all it's gonna do is I'm just gonna watch the story, and it was horrific to watch. It like that the first episode he lures the guy up to his
Yeah,
apartment,
yeah.
and I'm gonna basically watch this guy get killed. Like, I got better stuff to do. I mean,
But they did do a good job of going through like.
I thought that was you're talking about
psychological.
the last show
The
that they
Dahmer
did,
show.
Yeah, the most
I
recent
thought
one.
that was really good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was
and
really-
I'm not here to say it's not a well-made
But
show.
why
but
he did this stuff and
Yeah.
the parent
Yeah.
the dad mom dynamic and
Yeah, it just was like.
the
I didn't know that
rules,
stuff.
too
The
many
rules.
the rules.
Yeah, I was literally in that episode, and it was getting very obvious that homeboy's gonna die, and it's just like that question. I'm like, why am I watching this?
Yeah.
And I just don't need to.
Nah, yeah, I understand. Because that's exactly how it started off. That's exactly how it started
So,
off. Jack, did you go to college at all?
I did.
What college did you go to?
look at the
FIU.
way he tried to call you an
FIU.
uneducated rube.
I know.
No, I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
FIU.
Because you're
Hey.
black and you went to college. What? FIU
Willie
was just talking
Simmons.
about that.
Willie Simmons.
Yeah.
What?
Willie
He's the new
Simmons
head
just took
coach.
the head job at
He's
FIU.
the new
that
head
right?
coach there.
Oh, okay.
Was at FAMU. He had a lot of success at FAMU. Then went to Duke, and then now he's at FIU. Now, I want you to be honest with me here. I want you to be completely honest, because
I know that may be tough for you.
you are the exact type of person I want to talk to. Because, like, every time we put out a sort of like a Deion Sanders clip and other clip, I get killed online, and I've been getting killed for like a week now. But we always appreciate the views and comments. But there's like 1,000 of them, and they all killing me. Now, you got Deion Sanders, right? And very quickly here that Deion is one of the greatest football players to ever live. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after his playing career, he wanted to become a coach,
Yes,
and nobody wanted to hire him.
that's correct.
Do you know that?
Yes.
And then, out of nowhere, there's a couple HBCUs,
He goes to Jackson State.
and then he chose to go to Jackson State.
Yep.
Okay? Now, I went to HBCU, Bethune-Cookman. So I'm always speaking from the HBCU point of view because I went to one. It's just a natural thing. Now, when he goes there and then he has some level of success and then he decides to leave to go to Colorado,
to a PWI.
to a PWI. This is why I step in and say, hey, so the last clip that we did, I said, okay, what has he done at Colorado that he could not have done at Jackson State? If I just say that blanket statement to you, does that sound like coming from hate or vitriol upon Deion?
No. 'Cause
Why would you say no?
I can relate to what you're saying in the sense that he couldn't have done what he what he's able to do. Like he couldn't leverage what he's doing, what he did at Colorado into his. He's going to be the coach at Dallas, right?
Well,
No,
that's
not
like a
coach,
rumor.
but
That's
not
like
head
a
coach.
it's not
loose
clear.
rumor.
It's not
So,
clear.
but I
Yeah,
mean, like he would not have that the leverage to
Even a
move
possibility.
from there
Yeah.
from Jackson to the NFL. It's like even though we all know that he's a great coach, they would not give him that. I don't think that they would give him the same
You're not going to go from
consideration.
Jackson State head
Yeah.
coach to potentially
to
Cowboy.
Dallas. Yeah, no.
The other thing that
So why are you getting hate about that?
Well, I'm
Or why are you getting?
it's basically because they believe that I'm knocking Deion for some reason, but which I'm not, right? But I basically what I'm saying is I'm almost saying the opposite of what you're saying. Is that what do you take that too? Because what I'm saying is if he would have stayed at Jackson State, I do believe that eventually other things would have opened up down the line. But the problem with that though, and I understand.
But when you say that, what things are you referring to opening up?
And then that was the next thing coming out of my mouth. Of course, I don't know because we don't have an actual study for it. I don't have an actual like prior example I can go to and say, hey, remember this guy, X guy, and that guy did that, but that's a part of the
HBCU thing. So you're thinking you're saying that you believe that at some point they would recognize that he would be a good fit to be a head coach somewhere else, or some other opportunity would have come from him being at Jackson State.
I'm not even thinking about him jumping to a better opportunity.
Oh.
I'm talking about him making this the opportunity.
Right, but I was going to say and that's why when you brought up the other things, that was kind of a self-defeating statement, because if it's about opportunity,
but
if it's about
other things aren't opportunities.
But that's why I asked you.
Okay,
what do you mean by other things?
What I mean by other things is continuously of better recruits, continuously of improving Jackson State, the actual school, and everything. Because when he first went there, and what people are throwing at me, they stole from him at Jackson State. He had to put some of his own money into the football program and things like that. And what I'm saying is, but he knew that, not the stealing, but he knew. Okay, let me continue. He knew that going into Jackson State, that this was he had to build it up.
Right.
But just like all of the other guys, it's either that or nothing, even for Deion. You know what I mean? You know, so it's like, okay, I need an opportunity. And also with my words and with my actions, I'm saying I value this opportunity. All right, because I wanna be the person to help bring HBCU back into prominence. That's his exact words.
Right,
So,
but I felt
Jackson State still it's still a part of the conversation.
Yeah,
right?
they're still good on the HBCU level,
Yeah.
but they're not a part of the national conversation at all.
Oh.
As if Deion was
when
there.
Deion was there, he was able to draw eyes to HBCU football, kind of
Right.
like Clayton Clark had for women's basketball.
Yes.
that were never looking in that direction.
100%.
Right.
And now that then they were. And I get, like, again, you look at, like, well, what's my mission here?
Yeah.
If his mission was to really just set up, and you would ride through all that adversity, you would build, you do whatever, so that in 5, 10, 15 years, you're still sitting at the top of that thing and you're looking back laughing at, remember year 2 when they freaking stole my jewelry?
Yeah.
And remember, year 3 when I had to come out of pocket for $100,000? Like, you look back at those things and it's part of your journey and you enjoy it. But I just think Deion is just way more complicated than that.
Yeah.
And way more self-interested than that. And he has a way of, when he's in a place and in a moment, of being present. Well, no, but of being present in that moment.
Right.
When he's at Jackson State, he's going to say those things.
Yeah.
When he comes to Colorado, he throws on a cowboy hat and acts that part and says the stuff that resonates there. He has a gift for that. And if he ends up at another spot, he's
going to do the same thing.
He's going to do the same thing.
And nothing is wrong with it.
But that's the thing. Like, so you're left, like, wanting him to be something that he's not. He wasn't the guy to really do that because that wasn't his interest.
But maybe that
And
was
when
his
I-
goal. His goal was to put Jackson State to create a winning team, and they did that, didn't they? Like he did some
to a good degree. Yes,
his goal was to go there, put them on to get himself to the next level. I feel
that's
like
two different things.
That's two different things.
Because if your goal is to elevate Jackson State, you're probably going to stay there longer. If your goal is to be a
short-term goals.
Well, I mean, you can divide it that way, yeah. But if your goal is to be a really good coach, and let's never forget to do what's best for your son, it's not necessarily staying at Jackson State.
Exactly.
And see, I disagree with that as well. And see,
because you would always have the question: if he only played at Jackson State, he's not going to be the presumptive top 2 or 3 pick.
Exactly.
That's not necessarily.
It's not necessarily.
It's
but
not
it's
necessarily
most
true.
likely. But it's most likely.
I don't even know if it's most likely because you still have pro day, you still have and then also it was so early to where, like you said, you still had time to schedule games against Division I programs.
You could
now, and then that's that, and then also it's not just about Deion. The time that Deion was at Jackson State was just the best time since the fucking 60s for HBCUs.
Yeah.
Because at that time you had Deion at Jackson State getting the #1 overall player in the world. You had Willie at FAMU winning at an incredible rate and bringing Division I transfers in at an incredible rate.
Yeah.
Okay. You had the Tennessee Titans running back Eddie George. He's over there at Tennessee State and HBCU, building that program up.
And he actually had a good year this year.
Won an incredible large lawsuit that benefited all HBCUs because each state,
they owe them money.
They owed HBCUs money. If it wasn't for Eddie George, that does not happen.
Right.
All of this is happening at the same time. Like for HBC, I just felt that was the time. And if you just progress from there, it shit would just be different.
But
that was the time.
But maybe Eddie George is what you thought Deion was. Maybe Eddie George
it's not what
is
I
going to
thought
be.
Deion was. I guess hope for is a better
Hope
word.
for, yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe Eddie George is that guy. Maybe he's the
it's
one.
Not enough. You need more.
I get that.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to when Deion was there. I thought like that. Like if you are looking at elevating HBCU football as a brand, as a quality of football, that dude that went with the "you're not swag" stuff, was an asshole.
Yeah.
An idiot.
He was
the
a guy
small-minded bullshit.
Yeah.
And he didn't get the bigger
didn't
picture.
get it at all.
And he created this fake nonsense.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's the straw that breaks the camel's back on Deion, but it certainly doesn't help.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Sentinel running the "Would you pay Shaq $100 million in 1996?" Well, hell yeah, we should have. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
When you are a small-minded person, when you are regressive in your mindset, you get in the way of progress.
Right. Yeah.
And you get in the way of everything that's possible. And, again, he doesn't singularly believe it, but his mentality was reflective of others. Like, he wasn't alone in that viewpoint. I mean, Deion is always a polarizing figure. It just, it is what it is with him.
Right.
And he's just, prime time. Like, it's about now with him. And it's always going to be that. Because once he gets to Dallas, or if he gets to Dallas, he's going to be there and try to figure out what his next move is. Next move, it's just never going to be.
As of right now, it looks like he's going to stay at Colorado. Me and Pink and I, we didn't believe that to be true, but it looks like he's going to stay at Colorado. And he's and build this program up.
Right?
Yeah. His son, both of his sons are leaving, along with Travis, who was the best player in college football. He's going to be gone as well. But yeah, they he seems to be rolling it back and coming back. But again, I know I asked last week, but it's like, okay, what is the expectation? Because if he comes back and they don't make the playoffs, which I don't see how they can do that. A lot of people listen. We get
maybe he'll come.
And what I mean by we, black people, we get a person and we love a person, and that person can't do nothing wrong, and you better not say nothing bad about him. and I don't think it's so far fetched, even if you believe in Julian, right? And a lot of people are saying, "What do you mean he's the 35th ranked? This and that?" But because he technically is the number 2 overall quarterback in this thing. But he's a freshman quarterback, a true freshman quarterback. You think a true freshman quarterback is going to come in and lead this team to a playoff, a national championship? You're fooling yourself with the best player in college football leaving. Yeah. No matter how you look at it, but that has to be the next step for him. That's the next level of expectation is to make the playoffs. There has to be.
Well,
to measure success.
To measure success, yes, but and again, this is why I'm still skeptical of him staying. I think he's essentially a front-running sort of guy, and I don't think he's built for a step back. But he may have to take one to be the long-haul guy. And it would be strangely odd for him to, like, again, make the Jackson State to Colorado move and then basically set up roots in Colorado. Like, what's that really all about?
Yeah.
You know, again, if it was just about mentoring men and coaching football, you could have done that at HBCU. Yeah. And I get that argument. But, you know, because, again, he doesn't have any tie to Colorado or whatever. And it's just kind of, it felt like an unusual pick when he went there.
Well, you can smoke weed there in the streets.
If that's what you're all about, man.
I mean, I guess that you can tell that to recruits. Like, hey, you come in, you can smoke weed in the streets.
Yeah. Just don't let it affect your performance. I mean, yeah, it would be weirdly ironic for him to, like, just settle into Colorado and have, like, a 10-year run there.
That would be incredibly weird.
Yeah, it'd probably bother you even more each year.
Oh, it would. That would bother me. That would.
What if he left and went to another HBCU? What would your thought process be?
Oh, well, of course that would be great, but that's just 100% not going to happen. You know, the only way that would happen is if he would have to go to the next level, maybe fail, and then still have a coaching bug, and then that can happen because he does have HBCU roots from the beginning. You know what I mean? So
I thought he went to Florida State.
He did. But he has HBCU roots, like, you know. So, you know, it could happen. But now now we're in this weird time frame where if it is an NFL job, he does have to wait until the draft process works out and wait for all the coaching jobs to open up. Because ideally you would see, okay, can he follow Shadur somewhere? You know what I mean? And so it just really depends. So you're in this, we have to wait a couple more months before that decision can even be made.
Well, yeah, maybe about a month and a half.
Yeah.
Because what you...
Yeah, because after the Super Bowl?
Right.
Well, no.
Well,
it's
after...
Black Monday is the day after the last regular season game.
Oh, okay.
And that's what you're waiting for.
And that's when the coaches, you know, who've been bad all year, they start losing jobs.
And then also you'll know exactly how
the draft order is.
So you're right.
But you'd again, he's kind of already set the stage that they're willing to do whatever to leverage him to a team.
You've already said
but
that.
you can't leverage too far. Like, you can't leverage to 7 or 8 or 9.
Yeah.
You could leverage maybe within the top 3.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the regular season, we're going to know who those 3 teams are. Mm-hmm. We're going to know what their coaching moves are. Are they letting their guy go? Are they, you know, riding with him? And then we'll kind of have a better feel of what Deion might have up his sleeve.
Yeah.
You know, at that point.
Exactly. But I think it's going to take to the end to know for sure.
Yeah. That's why, I mean, until he's on the Colorado sideline for game 1 next year, I'm not convinced he's going to be there.
I'm with you, Pink.
Appreciate that.
Before we get out of here, how you feeling about your Florida State moves?
Was not particularly inspired by Gus Malzahn. He has never developed a quarterback, and the quarterback is the most important position.
How does he keep getting a job?
Maybe he's good on his knees. In front of the Lord, of course. But yeah, it was, to me, an uninspired hire because, and my biggest concern is he has not developed quarterbacks at any time in his career, and that's the most important position in football. So I don't think that's a good hire. I feel like Norvell was essentially dictated to him that he needed to bring in a guy with significant head coaching experience, and I think he did work with Malzahn in Tulsa, so he does know him. There's a relationship there. And so I think that was just the most comfortable compromise in that space. Now, defensively, I'm a little bit excited about the defensive guy. The Nebraska guy seems like a young rising coach. He brought 2 guys with him from his staff, and when he signed here, half the Nebraska defense went in the portal. So maybe not the same as Marshall, but there was definitely, like, guys love this guy.
Yeah.
You're not moving across the country taking a new coaching job.
That's definitely across the country.
Yeah, if you're not really down for your guy. So I think defensively they did a good thing. Offensively, I'm skeptical. The big news today, Kromenhoek, the guy that started the last 2 games,
Yeah.
goes in the portal.
How do you feel about that? And and why? Is it because you guys got that 4-star coming in?
No, it's because of the portal. The problem is we're probably going to get this guy that was the BC starter for the first half of the year and then got benched at BC. But sounds like we're going to get him in to be our starter next year.
And then what's happening with the guy that was hurt?
DJ, I think he's gone. Nobody likes him. No.
But he still has a year left of eligibility.
I don't think so because he played at Clemson, he played at Oregon State, and then he came to us as a senior. I thought he's out of eligibility.
You think that?
Yeah. So
I read he has 1 more year.
Does
somewhere.
he? Yeah.
But that was on social media, not like
yeah. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe
so,
with the COVID year or whatever, that might still be the case.
Yeah.
But I
How
think
long is that shit gonna linger?
Yeah.
It was the last year, right?
It's got-
last
it has
year,
to-
last
I would
year?
hope so.
It's gotta
Last
be.
year.
But yeah, I mean, so they're probably bringing in Castellanos to start. I think Kromenhoek looked at that and was like, I don't want to sit as a backup. I heard there was some dispute over money. His dad denies it. I don't know. But, I mean, to me, I would be dishonest with myself if there was anybody on a 2-10 team worth keeping. So I don't care if 85 of you motherfuckers go in the portal. Good riddance.
So you think it's not just the coaching?
I mean, it's all shit at 2-10. Like, it's an all systems failure. I mean, we can't be upset about any assistant coach getting fired. We can't get upset about any player going in the portal. I wouldn't have been upset if Norvell got fired, and I kind of liked him up until game 1 of this year. And it just is what it is. You have a mandate to win, and if you can't do that, get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
You should have a hard bargain.
It's not a bargain. It's win or die.
It hasn't working for him. He's like, "What are you doing? You're fired. You're fired." I have a mandate to win. Get out of here.
Yeah, mandate to win. You like that? Mandate.
Yeah, mandate. I like that. I'll be using that.
But yeah, so I mean, we'll see. I'm not overly excited about that quarterback either, though.
Yeah.
The Boston College guy. I mean, you couldn't keep the starting job at Boston College, and now you're the answer for us. That's a reach, man.
Well,
So
you have
can
the
I
quarterback
ask a
whisperer.
question? So about UCF basketball, how are we looking for the season?
I want to go see a game. They got a couple of interesting guys over there, but I haven't. I just haven't been able to check in yet with those guys. Have you seen
No.
anything?
No.
Have you heard anything?
No, I haven't. I'm not a fan of Mikey.
Mikey Williams?
Yeah.
But he's not the only one on the team.
Who else am I supposed to care about?
Is it Dior Johnson?
Yeah, they got the Dior guy.
Yeah,
That's
Dior.
another big name guy that they have.
Yeah.
I'm looking him up now.
I'm not a college basketball guy for the most part.
I think that's what it comes down to for me. Like
Yes,
tournament, I'm a
It's a-
halfway tournament
It's
guy.
a
Yeah.
bad product. Yeah.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a bunch of dudes running around like chickens with their heads
It's
cut
like
off.
football.
Nah,
With the guys running around with a helmet on their head.
But it's like college basketball is like overcoached and underplayed, and I just don't think the game like moves fluidly, and you have just a lot of guys out there that really can't play, and it's just not real fun to watch.
So yeah, they're 7-2.
I think
UCF
they
7-2.
upset. Yeah, I think they upset some team recently. I forget.
But I'm looking for
I
those guys.
I should be going to the game. I literally live up the street from.
You
For
can
real?
walk. You can walk. You can walk to a game.
Yeah, I'm like I should be going more often.
Yeah.
I don't see any of the guys that we're talking about here.
They're not playing.
Let me see. I see Darius Johnson.
It's Dior Johnson.
Yeah, I don't see. Hold
And
on.
Mikey Williams.
I see Dior. Okay, Dior is averaging 3 points a game,
Jesus.
and he's averaging about
it's only 3 points more than me. What the
he's
hell?
averaging about 6 minutes, 7 minutes a game.
What?
So he's a
That's
reserve. He's coming off the
crazy.
bench. And then who else are we looking for?
Mikey
Mikey.
Williams.
I don't see Mike. Oh, Mikey hasn't played in the game at all yet.
Wow. Is he hurt?
It doesn't say injury.
I don't think he was hurt. I know he was
I know he
working out the whole.
He had some like legal issues. Did they do one of those weird things where it's like we're going to suspend you?
That's how he's
No,
here.
but with coming into the school, did they do something where hey, we're going to sit you out the first semester? And,
Oh, yeah,
like,
that I
do
don't
something like
know.
that?
That was never. I don't think they ever mentioned that that it was like a big thing that he
No,
was
they do
coming
say
here,
he's
but
injured. Okay.
Oh, he's injured?
Yeah, they say he's injured.
he was gotten injured
Jalen
initially.
Sellers and Mikey Williams injured. So yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, it ain't much to see if the two big names are injured and averaging 3 points a game.
3 points.
I
I'm
mean,
surprised that he's just like coming off the bench, right?
It's pretty disappointing. Maybe he's not as good as people thought.
Maybe
Well, I
so.
mean,
He's a freshman,
he
so
might be,
That's not an excuse.
not in college.
No,
basketball,
like no.
yeah.
When you're like a highly regarded guy,
Yeah.
and you're coming into a program like you're not coming into UConn or Duke.
Yeah.
I mean, Cooper Flagg's coming in playing plenty.
Yeah.
These are the two guys
But
at
sometimes
Rutgers.
they get like a lot more leeway when they're going into certain programs to play. Like there are certain players that, like Cooper Flagg, I'm sure if he like was shitting up the place and turning over the ball, he would still be on the floor because people are coming to see him.
And it's an
But you would-
investment,
but
a
you
$3
would-
million investment.
Right,
Exactly.
but you would think like Dior Johnson and Mikey Williams going to UCF that
They
they
should be, like,
yeah.
just off
Play,
the chain,
that's a red flag that he's playing 6 minutes a game.
Yeah.
But isn't that
That's-
also the coaches? Like the coaches determine whether or not he plays, right?
Well, the coaches determine whether or not he's playing, but like if you're that guy, like you don't
Yeah,
I
play
guess
6
they'll
minutes.
figure
Well, there's
Right,
one
yeah.
thing that we know for sure. He'll be in the transfer portal. After
Well, where
That's
are you
one-
gonna go with
That's
3
one thing.
years gradually 3 points?
All I know is just that's guaranteed.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah.
like a foregone conclusion.
That's the funny thing with like the guy, the Cromenhawk guy going in the portal. Like, I mean, he looked kind of okay at times. Like you saw some potential, but at the end of the day, you threw for like 300 or 400 yards in a couple starts on a 2-10 team, and had as many touchdowns as interceptions. It's like, okay, what are we missing?
Every once in a while, it could be
That's
politics.
what I don't understand
politics.
about the portal. Like, don't you have to have a resume when you go into the portal, or they just, or you
Well,
just need to?
I think there's two realities to the portal that exist. There are guys that are going into the portal because they're trying to get a better deal, more money. They're trying to upgrade the school. Maybe they're like a mid-level Division I, and they, like Jared Verse was at Albany and then transfers to Florida State and goes in the first round of the draft. Like, so some guys are doing that, but there's other guys that are basically being cut from their teams, and it's like, hey, we don't have any use for you. Get yourself in the portal and wish you the best of luck. We'll tell everybody you're a great guy and work hard, and it is what it is. So there's, not every portal entry is the same.
Yeah, yeah. I like one thing Deion said. He said a lot of guys jump in the portal, but a lot of guys don't make it out.
Yeah.
So just understand that you're more than welcome to get in there, but that's just the thing about
because
it.
I thought you had to have something already lined up in order to go into the portal.
Not have to,
Like,
but
te-
you
technically-
might want to.
Well, technically, it's not supposed to work that way.
Yeah.
Right.
But people are communicating and doing things.
Yeah,
But like,
tampering is what you're saying.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but and then also you got the guy who, coming down to a decision, coming out of high school, he may have 3 or 4 schools. He picks the one school. After 1 year doesn't work out, he circles back to the other 2 to 3 schools. And
Yeah, and
I'm gonna
where
hit the portal.
That's where you feel like the communication's probably happening.
Exactly.
It's like, those 2 or 3 coaches that recruited him, they kind of see, well, he's not
Right.
getting, it's not quite as green as he thought it was. Let's, maybe he reaches out. I mean, Norvell made a comment the other day. It's like, hey, we've had plenty of guys going to the portal, and they think everything's going to be great, and most of these guys are calling me back in a year, asking for a way back, and that's real.
So what happens if you go into the portal and you don't get picked up? What happens in that
Your
case? You just
McDonald's
go to school?
application. No, you when
your
you
coach,
go,
your coach can bring you back.
no, but
if
I'm
they
saying
don't fill
when,
your
when you
scholarship.
go in the portal, your scholarship ends. If somebody doesn't offer you a scholarship, and the school that you're leaving doesn't want you back, that's what Deion's talking about. There's kids will go in the portal as scholarship athletes, and they won't be ever again. They might end up walking on somewhere, or having to explore lower level options of football or basketball or whatever the sport is. There's no guarantee of anything when you go in there.
Yeah.
Now again, when you're a certain level of player with a big
Right.
resume and some accomplishments, you go in there and maybe you're going in there to see what other people are going to pay in NIL and see if, whatever, if, you may have an open door to come back. I think so. I mean, these are all kind of high level, negotiations. It's like whatever. If you're Florida or Florida State and you got a guy on your roster and it's like, okay, well, we had you at X for NIL last year. You played well. We're going to offer this. And it's kind of, hey, I think that's a little light. And say, hey, if you want to go in the portal and see what you're worth, go ahead. And then they may, depending on who it is, leave it open to come back. Hey, if you don't get what you want and you want to come back, we like you, whatever. There's just so many ways. You're rolling the dice in all your negotiations, whether you're the player individually. If you kind of negotiate yourself into the portal and don't get picked up or don't get picked up at the same level, that's on you. And team wise, okay, you're telling some kids on your roster, hey, we don't have a use for you. You ought to get in the portal and see what happens. And maybe they go somewhere else and blossom. And then there's other guys. Maybe you do the negotiation thing and say, hey, if you think you get better in the portal, go ahead. If not, hit us back and we'll still talk. And they find something better, or sometimes they don't. But it's just musical chairs. Like what's going on and what's the best for you. I mean, there's other data out there that like a big chunk of the high level playoff teams all have transfer quarterbacks. There's some homegrown, like Carson Beck at Georgia, Cade, the guy at Clemson, they were there all along. But like Dylan Gabriel started at UCF, now he's the Oregon guy. Ohio State's guy was a transfer from Kansas State.
So for the freshmen, right? Freshmen coming out, they're pretty much ass out because of these more seasoned players that are in the portal. That certain schools
not
are
necessarily.
Unless you're a high level player.
Well, it depends. Like again, if there were coaches that were recruiting you and still believe in you, and you just maybe didn't get the opportunity, they might still be very happy to get you in the program and think that you can develop and come along. Everything's like an individual decision. And it's like, what do I think about this kid?
Right.
Again, there's a reality. The less you play, the longer you go without playing, like all that definitely hurts your value.
Right.
And maybe, again, your NIL money. Maybe if you're a freshman and you didn't really play, like the NIL money's probably not going to be what it is for somebody that has been on the field and has 2 or 3 years of productivity that people can base their decisions off of.
Because I just read that they were saying a lot of the kids that haven't been, like the 2025 class and 2026, that it's going to be, there will be less, they will be recruiting less freshmen because they have access to the portal.
Oh, you're talking, that's a different dynamic. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're talking about guys coming out of high school.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. But that's not necessarily true. But it's only what teams are saying is like those portal guys. The hope is that they would be able to get on the field and produce quicker or faster.
Yeah,
like
plug
and play.
Exactly.
Versus the development of a high schooler.
But like last year, Deion only took 5 high school kids, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And everything else was portal.
Yeah.
And some programs are probably doing that. So it definitely does have an impact that you're again, if we're trying to, bring in 15 portal guys, maybe I'm only going to take a high school class of 17 or 18 rather than, back in the day with Florida State, sometimes your recruiting class would be 25, 28 guys. And now I think we have 18 or 19, may add another 1 or 2 here or there. But for the most part, you're focused on the portal transfer and stuff. But it's still a numbers game. You've got you got certain guys every year that are graduating from your program, and then you have certain guys that are going into the portal, and then you're going to either replace them with portal people or freshmen, high school guys coming up. What's the best mix for you? But the issue, the question of the development is a legitimate one. There's tremendous pressure to win now and win immediately. And
so that's why
freshman guys are not usually the answer to that problem.
Exactly.
And so you get in a situation where it's like, okay, well, that guy's not going to help that much. And, how these guys react. Okay, so Florida State, the guy that left was a 4, borderline 5-star quarterback. Because of injury, he gets on the field and plays a bit this year and shows a few flashes. But, like, Mike Norvell is coaching for his job right now. Is he going to roll with the guy with that little experience, or is he going to go find something else?
Right.
And if he's going to go find someone else, which most people would, this guy's now taking it some kind of way. That, oh, hey, you guys aren't interested in my development. You don't trust me. I need to look for someone that's going to invest in me. Good luck. Maybe you find that. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Because, again, there's just the tremendous pressure for these coaches and teams to do something.
Yeah, that's definitely the dynamic. Well, that's been our time. We got to get out of here. We'll catch you guys next week on the bench.
That was fun.
Yeah. Glad you had fun.